Good morning, my friends. How are we doing? Welcome back. Yesterday, Chef. Yeah, yesterday sucked again for me. The first 2 days of this week have sucked. But when I look at the ES, I don't get so upset about it. There's a move coming. I missed the tech names yesterday, but it's going to happen. I've had those days so many times in my trading career. It's just part of the game. Nvidia, AMD, just sort of rocketed out of the gates. Just missed it. Morning, everyone. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa, Alejandro? Good morning, good morning. Buenos dias. Trucking and listening. Thank you for doing the hard work there, Reno. We need you, man. We need you. Amazon big winner. Nice job, Chef. Yeah, Amazon was nice. Amazon looks good today again, too. There's actually some very nice bullish retests out there today. That's why I put it in the thumbnail. Yeah, Nvidia just sort of rocketed, and I know myself. I know the way I trade. I like to be in the beginning of a move. I like to try to take the retest, which is the beginning of a move. And when you just sort of rocket, it's just when you rocket, it's for me, it's like a whatever. That's how I look at it. I'd rather just sort of soak it up with shares. So I guess it's just my mindset overall in trading, my risk aversion. So I have to accept it, right? I have to accept it. That's the way I am. So I can't change, right? I can't change the way that I emotionally react to big moves in a single direction without me catching it, right? If I say, oh, I got to start just getting into these plays because they're going, I don't want to change that. So it's there's always going to be something in trading that like upsets you. And for me, it's always missing out on like just straight up moves, straight up or straight down, right? I'll never catch them. But that's the way it is. That's how I trade. Yeah, and Nvidia moved higher while the NASDAQ was rejecting. Absolutely. That's sort of what kept me out of it. I totally agree. Nvidia is doing a nice retest this morning, though. Nvidia is doing a very nice retest this morning. Very nice 292 hold. We're going to talk about that. Very clean. So we shall see. There's definitely some nice pullback retests out there today. Amazon, off the top of my head, Amazon, Nvidia, AMD, Google is a potential one that I'm watching. TSM moved nicely. So yeah, some nice stuff out there. We'll definitely take a look. Morning, guys. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hopefully you had a good day yesterday. Nvidia, the stock of the year, hands down. And you know what, man? I'm just so happy that if you guys are a long time watcher of the channel, you remember how bullish I was on Nvidia in 2022 when everything was dropping, and me taking that share position at 130. So I mean, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted to happen. So either way, if I miss it with options, I mean, it's up. It's up 100% in my IRA. But if I go to my M1 account, here's my M1 account. This is what keeps you from getting FOMO, my friends. When everyone asks me, how do you not get FOMO? Here's my answer. Right? This is my answer right here to not getting FOMO. It's this. This is the FOMO killer. The FOMO killer is the long-term portfolio. Have one. Create one. Start buying stocks. Right? Year to date, 35% year to date, 103% on Nvidia alone, 48% on Tesla, 60% on AMD, 37% on Google, 35% on Apple, 32% on Microsoft, 68% on Shop, 12% on Netflix, down 9 on AbbVie, down 10 on Home Depot, up 55% on Rumble, 16% on Lulu, down 1% on Boeing, down 12% on Caterpillar. And some of the dividend names: Costco, Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Chevron, Cisco, Altria, and ExxonMobil. That's the FOMO killer, is the long-term portfolio, man. Got to have it. Got to do it. Just got to do it. I've actually started a SEP IRA in this as well. I've started to just buy the VU and the VYM. I'm just going to buy $500 every week of these two moving forward as well. So, got to do it. That's the FOMO killer. Anyways, no millionaire? Why not me? If you watch Doc, you know that. Why you a millionaire but not me? In addition to your long-term, I have a SEP IRA and E-Trade that I just don't really share. It's just personal. There's money in it that I really don't care to share. It's just sort of, That's my SEP. That's my retirement. It's like my true retirement account. But M1 is like my, I'll share it online, social media. I'll share the M1 portfolio, keep you up to date with that. That's sort of like my YouTube long term. Why not me? When Lambo? All right. Good morning, everyone. Doc is the best. Doc is just, he just makes me happy, man. Doc's personality on stream is like no other. He's just a great entertainer. And I love the way he roasts the chat, man. I love the way he roasts his chat. That's probably where I get it from. When someone comes in here and says something really stupid, they know they're gonna get it from me. That's M1. That is M1 Finance. M1 Financia. Yeah, you don't have to start your long term now, Eugene. I personally believe that time in the market is better than timing the market. You don't buy your full position. Guys, remember, right here, I know I'm sorry to take up some time here this morning on the long term, but I still think it's something that I want to keep doing on this channel. Remember, when I bought, hold on. You need to remember when I started buying in M1. My first purchase in my M1 portfolio account, my first purchase, if I go here and I go to trading and I go to the earliest date, my first purchase in M1 was November 3rd of 2021. November 3rd of 2021 was my first purchase. Ever since that date, I have bought stocks every single week. Every single week, I've bought stocks. Every single one. I have not missed a single week since November 3rd of 2021. If I go to my portfolio, all time, I'm up 12%. November 3rd of 2021 is the exact high of the market. I started buying stocks right here. The exact top. The exact top. I bought it. This is where I started buying. Right here. And I am up 12% when the stock market is still down. When the NASDAQ is down 20%. The NASDAQ's down 20%, and I am up 12% after buying at the exact top. So, if there was ever an example of long-term investing, dollar cost averaging, there it is. Do not try to time the market with your long-term investments. It's not going to work. Anyways, let's continue. That's my monthly reminder to everyone that's so scared to buy stocks. To just start investing in your future, man. If you're young, if you're in your 20s, you got 50 years to set yourself up to not do shit when you're 70 years old, to be sitting on $5-10 million of stocks, taking portfolio loans out at 3%, living off your investments, living off dividends. It's got to do something. You got to do something to set yourself up. You got to think long term, man. All right. There it is. That's my spiel for the morning. I'll stop talking about it because I know some people get angry about buying stocks. The market's going to tank, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. May 17th. Welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another beautiful day here. Just buying Nvidia. Yeah, pretty much. Futures, economic earnings calendar. Let's take a look what's on the economic calendar today. I'm pretty sure it's pretty light. I think we have some housing starts, building permits, whatever that's called. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I'm actually perfectly right. Housing starts, building permits. So 8:30 today. You got Wednesday, May 17th, 8:30. Housing starts, building permits. That's your economic news for the day. We will see if there's any movement off that at 8:30. Tomorrow, home sales, jobless claims, more Fed presidents, and more Fed presidents. So pretty light economic to end the week. Let's pull up the earnings calendar. We did see Target report this morning, and I think they did pretty well. So I think they did. I saw it was sort of a mixed bag, it looked like. But Target, TJX this morning, Jack in the Box. If anyone likes Jack in the Box, there's no Jack in the Box here on the East Coast, I don't think. But Jack in the Box, Wix, yeah, nothing much there. Cisco after hours today. Walmart tomorrow, Alibaba tomorrow, Ross, Dress for Less. That's really it, guys. John Deere, it's a Dow name. Foot Locker, is that even still a company? I guess so. So, yeah, today was Target. Yesterday was Home Depot. You're seeing a little bit of weakness on HD. So, yeah, that was your earnings. That's your economic. Nothing crazy there. Really, what's more important is just this crazy price action that we've been seeing on the S&P. The S&P 500 continues to just do absolutely nothing. The NASDAQ continues to outperform. It's been a very interesting last few days. You've seen some very strong strength from like a few individual stocks that just are sort of holding up that NASDAQ. Yesterday, it was pretty much all semiconductors. It was Nvidia, AMD, TSM was very nice. So some semiconductors very strong on those. You had some really nice strength on Google yesterday. So those big names are still holding up that NASDAQ, whereas the ES just isn't really getting much love. The energy sector, the financial sector have been weighing the S&P 500 down. One of these are going to either the NASDAQ's going to crack or the S&P 500 is going to wake up. It's going to happen eventually. We're going to have to stay patient, right? While we sit here, while we sort of chop sideways on the ES, do not blow up your accounts. Do not get aggressive in this tight channel, this shitty price action. Trust me, there's going to be a move on this market at some point, and the patient person will likely win. So NASDAQ has been decent. ES has been pretty bad. So Tesla 165 hold. We're going to take a look at this. This was a perfect break and retest of 165 that held again yesterday. Tesla is up this morning. So definitely something to watch this morning. Tesla's up to 168 this morning. Definitely watching this. Nvidia 292 retest looks fantastic this morning. It's up to 295 in the pre-market. Amazon 113 looks awesome this morning. Google looking for a pullback to around 119, 120. AMD 101.50. TSM swing trade. And finally, this Netflix 330 level. So some really interesting setups this morning. All of these setups that I'm going to show you today are bullish. So I'm going to look at these levels to both sides, right? Just because right now they are bullish setups, but I will be open to switch that thought process if these levels break, right? So as they currently stand in the pre-market, they're in bullish setups. But if we flip right under these levels, they will be considered bearish. So these are very key levels across all the names we're going to talk about today. Definitely levels I'd be watching on these individual stocks. All right. Let's get it going. So let's start with the ES. Why not? All right. And the ES has been sideways. Right. That's the best way I can explain the ES. It's been sideways. Right. It's been trading in this 100-point range since March 31st. March 31st until May 17th, this entire time, right? We have been trading in a 100-point range on the ES. The demand definitely is strong, right? We have not been able to break below this 4,100, 4,110, 4,120. This whole zone, this whole 20-point range down here continues to hold very well. So you really can't short this thing unless you short the extreme tops, right? If you're getting in shorts at these lows, it's just not really working for you. The demand continues to hold. We sort of have to understand that, right? Yes, it's been sideways, but it's not breaking down. It's continuing to hold this demand down below. If we zoom in on the shorter term, right, this is your last 5 days, and this is really what gets me interested to see what happens out of this move, right? This is a descending triangle, which is what some people call this a descending triangle, which it technically is. It really depends on which side of this, of this triangle the ES wants to break. Does it want to get some price action? Does it want to catch some steam? And does it want to break this downtrend? Or are we going to break this demand low? And if we do, right, that really gets you on the move to the downside. It's sort of right in this 41.25. You guys can see, I think that's probably your most important level in the short term this week. This 41.25 zone, all right here. 41.25, even down to like 41.20 here. This little 5-point range has held over the last 5 trading days. So if I'm going to go to the 30-minute now, show it a little bit cleaner. Here's the 30-minute, right? And over the last 5 days, we have pretty much just made lower highs and a flat bottom. The technicals aren't uh, when you look up the definition of this technical formation, there's both sides of the trade, right? There is a bullish reasoning for it. There's a bearish reasoning for it. It's bullish if it breaks the downtrend. It's bearish if it breaks the flat bottom, right? You can't say whether this is bullish or bearish, because what else could happen is, debt ceiling, or Russia could, do something crazy, and it just drops straight to the downside. So you could say, oh, this is bullish. I love this technical setup, and then bam, right? So we can't get all, warm and cozy over some kind of technical setup like this on the overall market. We have to just continue to watch it. Right? That's what I do in this scenario. If I start to see this thing creep above this downtrend, if I start to see us break some of these highs, then of course, I could start to see maybe a little squeeze to the upside over this downtrend. If we start to break these lows around 4120, 4125, then we'll look for that 4110, 4100 area. But as of right now, I mean, this is your last 5 days, and it's been difficult, right? And I wouldn't, if you guys are having a little bit of difficulty reading the market in this area, I would not get so down on yourself, right? That's pretty normal when you see this type of price action. You just have to have the mental control and the emotional control of scaling down and not getting yourself messed up in this area, because you really haven't missed out on anything. You're really just, if anything, the traders that aren't trading are the ones winning. They're saving mental capital. They're not getting frustrated, right? And, this is just not great price action. So as of right now, I'm just going to watch this today. I'm going to respect the demand low, right? I'm not going to short into this demand low. There's no reason to. I'm not going to be longing any type of extreme pushes to the upside. I'll probably watch this 4150. That has been a very key level here. If we delete that downtrend, we know that this 4150 has been pretty heavy above. We know that this 4165, 4170 level is going to be pretty heavy above, right? So we know there's some heavy levels above to be paying attention to. I would say anywhere between 4150, right, is the first one I'd watch, which is right here. Pop that on. And then 4170s is probably your next one, right? So really the 4170, 4150 are your two tough levels above. You can see 4150, 4150, 4170, 4170. So 4150, 4170, 4120, and you really just need to wait until you get some kind of actual price action. You'll be able to tell. You will be able to tell on an intraday basis. When you're watching the intraday, you'll be able to tell, okay, this looks like we're actually catching some momentum. The candles are actually moving. There's actually continuation. We have not seen any of that intraday, right? If we go to yesterday's price action on the 5-minute chart, right, there was never really a time where you're like, oh, this looks like a trend. Maybe this end of day drop, but then you just sort of get a hold of that 4120 demand again, right? So here's your 5-minute chart. If you break the uptrend, right, if you get a little uptrend break, I would say look for 4150. If you get a downside break of this 4120, then I think things can continue. So that's the ES. Really not much new things to report. The only thing I could really say with confidence is do not short into 4120. Not until it's clearly been broken, right? That's what I would say. Do not short into these lows, because you can see the reactions time and time again if you get short into this zone. So just be careful of this zone down below. Let's go to the SPY. SPY is obviously the same thing. If we go to the hourly chart here, you guys can see we're in that same little descending triangle. You can see that 410, 409 demand that continues to step up down here. You can see the downtrend that's been sort of forming, and you know that you have the 414 supply still above. So today, I would look to see, do we hold the 410 demand again, or do we sort of break out of this downtrend? And is there any type of increase in price action? Is there any kind of increase in volume, any eagerness on the market, right? Because you have not seen that lately. So 410, 409, 414 supply is still there. Watch this downtrend. What happened to Apple? Yeah, Apple, a little downside. Is there any news? Maybe some news on Apple? Apple is definitely important here at this 171. All right, let's go NASDAQ. So yesterday, we finally hit the level that I have been waiting to see get tested. We hit it. This 13,550. If you guys remember, I was talking about this 13,550 a lot. And that 13,550, I talked about it in my video yesterday. But that 13,550, right, is this high back from April. This area that we rejected 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 13,550 right here, right? And you can see you rejected it again here in August. And now we are right into it. And if we go to the 5-minute chart and we look at yesterday's price action, right, look at what the NASDAQ did as it hit that 13,550 yesterday. Took shorts on the NASDAQ here, actually, and didn't catch this whole downside, but a nice win on the NASDAQ. Just trusted my level there at 13,550, and you can see that that rejection definitely came in. So this is going to be difficult, right? This is not going to be easy, right? To trust a long side trade into this zone is not going to be very easy for me. Knowing myself, knowing who I am, knowing how I trade, knowing that I don't like to trade longs into supply, because that's the worst. I would rather lose, right? I would so much rather lose trying to long a demand and demand not holding than I would rather lose, in a good risk reward scenario. Let's say I longed off NASDAQ 13.5 or something and it broke down. I would rather lose there than go long at supply and get smacked at a rejection level, right? I do not like losing like that because I know better, right? I know that that's supply. I know I went against how I trade. I'd rather lose here on a long than I would a long here, right? And I'd rather lose on a short here than I would on a short at demand, right? So that's going to be difficult. That's going to be real difficult for me to play longs into this 13,550, knowing how heavy this level is and knowing that knowing that we rejected it yesterday. So watch out for that level today. That's going to be major, 13,550. If we go to the 30-minute on the NASDAQ, here's sort of what's happening here, and this is very key this morning. The previous highs of 13.5, 13,490, which is right here. This is back on Friday of last week. And this little Tuesday rejection yesterday, before we got the big pop, is now turning into, for now at least, a short-term support level, right? You can see that the NASDAQ is attempting to hold the 13,490, 13.5 level as a new support, right? You can see it right here. Previous highs, previous high, right? Yesterday we pulled back, we held it. This pre-market we held back and we held it. So that's going to be the key for the NASDAQ. If the NASDAQ can actually retain that level and hold this little uptrend that it's been on, if it can hold here in this zone, then I think things can stay bullish. If the NASDAQ is to break this uptrend, start to break this 13.5 area, then I think you could get your retest, right? Your pullback. So that's going to be the key. The key for me is going to be this 13,460 to 13,490 zone. It's about a 30-point range. You have the previous lows. You have some previous highs here, right? Previous lows there, 13,465, 13,465. So you can see that we have that little shelf there, and then you have the highs here, right? You have the lows here around that 13,490, 13.5. So I'm going to watch this little uptrend here, right? I'm going to see if the NASDAQ holds that. If it does not hold that and it starts to break this demand, then I think you can continue lower. If you hold above these Friday highs right here this morning, do not short into that, right? We can't short into this right here. We're not going to short into Friday highs from last week that held yesterday at close, that held in the pre-market right here. So be careful shorting into this 13,490, 13.5 level. If you maintain it, the NASDAQ could definitely try again. If you break below it, then you might see that downside continuation, maybe back into this 465 level. And if you really break this downtrend and catch momentum, then obviously lower, right? 13,490, 13,460, Friday highs here, long-term or 3-day uptrend. Look to see what happens. This is going to be a pretty big inflection point right here, guys. right here is a big, big inflection point. This is a confluence, right? Right. You can see we'd have the uptrend, we'd have the demand, right? So this is going to be an important zone. It's a little crossroad right there. So keep an eye on that. All right. QQQ, 327.50. 327.50, 327 is what I'd say, right in this general area here, right? And that is because if we go to the 30 minutes, you guys can see right here, if the QQQ stays above these highs and these lows and the low from the pre-market, right, I would not short into this, right, because you could get that move right there. So QQQ, I would only short the QQQ today. I would say if it's under 327. If the QQQ is under 327, if it breaks this end of day low from yesterday, all right, if I go to the 5 minute, if the QQQ breaks this 327 low from yesterday, which is right here, right, that low from yesterday right there, if you get this move today, then I could see why you'd look to short. But I would not look to short if we're going to maintain in this zone, because this could just lead to another one of those pushes off demand. So I would really focus on 327.50 to 327 on QQQ. If it is above those levels, I would say you are still in a bullish scenario here on the Qs, right? I would say you're still long biased over 327. All right. Mike Jones, weak yesterday, sort of reversing here in the pre-market. Overall, has just been sort of on this slow downtrend. Under 33.5, that's the key. As long as it's under 33.5, I think it stays weak. The Russell, doing absolutely nothing. At demand lows, maybe some of you guys that trade the Russell could maybe go long IWM today. If you think the IWM holds this 1730 or the Russell holds this 1730, then you can maybe look to long the IWM here. But pretty much, it's been doing nothing. This 171, 172 zone on the IWM, yeah, not much. Not much. All right, Tesla. So 30 hourly chart on Tesla. We talked about this demand on Tesla, and it's holding pretty well. Right, we talked about that 165. We said do not short into 165, and that surely was the right thing not to do. Right, so you can see 165 held very nicely. Why did it hold? Because it's a previous triple top into a double bottom. That's a perfect break and retest. Right, you do not short into the retest of previous rejection points. You can see that previous triple top turned into a very strong double bottom. That is why you do not short into those levels. Right, now you can see you got your push off 165. Very nice push, right? And a very nice trading opportunity yesterday, which I missed myself, which I'm a little upset about. I was upset about this one. Look at this perfect demand hold of 165 yesterday on Tesla. And it gave you plenty of time to formulate that entry, right? You can see downside, got back above, held it here, pulled back, held it again, right? You start to say, all right, I'm going to set up my long side trade here, stop under like this low, right? And you can see that was a beautiful rally to the upside, right? So nice trade there. Missed it, unfortunately. 30-minute chart, though, right? We do have to be a little bit careful of this 170, right? Just because we have this 165 hold does not mean that we can go long into 170. So at this point, right, at this point on Tesla, you have to be over 170 before you can look to long Tesla now if you are not back at 165. So for me, the only two long entries are here or here, right? These are the only two long entries that I would look for. A break and hold over 170 or a pullback to 165 again, right? So 165 longs, over 170 hold longs. You could look for the supply rejection of 170, right? That could be a nice trade right there if you reject these 170 highs. You could also look to short if you really hold under 165, but I'd be careful on that one. I'd rather be a short at 170 here, looking for a supply rejection. So 170, 165, big time levels on Tesla today. I would be paying attention to those. Man, is this a thing of beauty. Man, is this a thing of beauty. And it's like to the dot, And it's crazy how much it's already moved in the pre-market. Look at this. Would you just look at this? 292, right? Look at this. 292, 290, retest of 292 in the even in the extreme downside we got end of day yesterday. Look at that 292 hold that came in end of day, and then this push overnight, right? This was really the long entry that you had to take yesterday on Nvidia. You could have taken this right here, this little 292 hold, late day little flag right there. That's really the long entry. That's a nice setup, but at this time I was already sort of checked out on Nvidia. I wasn't going to chase this. I didn't think that we would just sort of rally again off 292, but we sure as hell did. But 292, nice hold intraday yesterday. You can see it right here, a little inverse head and shoulder actually. That's actually pretty nice. Look at that. Not often you see an inverse head and shoulder like that intraday. Wow. Yeah, so nice setup there off 292 there on Nvidia intraday yesterday. Very nice little example of a long entry there. Now this morning, you can see we are holding that 292 with some pretty extreme strength. I would feel much more comfortable being along in this green zone, right? I would be much more comfortable being along in this green zone. So if we do get some kind of pullback at open today, if we do get some kind of whipsaw back to the downside, right, I would look to see if Nvidia can maintain that 292 once again. That would be nice. If you don't wait for a pullback, you are going to have to watch out for like this 298 and this 300 zone. It's like this whole zone, which I'm just sort of iffy about. 300 is definitely going to be a psych level. That's for sure. Let me get some more time here and see where the hell we're at, because Nvidia is pretty much at all-time highs. Not quite, but close. I mean, you're playing with not much over here. You're really not going off much over here, to be quite honest. What was this high right here? 289.46. I think that's going to be a key level, right? That was that weekly high level that I kept talking about. So let's keep that on our watch. 289.46. Let's put this here. Besides that, guys, I mean, I really don't see much. Besides, I can't say with confidence any levels in here on Nvidia, right? I mean, you can maybe sort of calculate right here, like this 314 level. You have like a previous high there, previous lows here, previous high there. I would definitely say 314 has importance. But if it's not 314, there's really not much over here, right? You're really just trying to find a level within sideways action up here. So not much over there, to be quite honest. I would say 314. And if you just, I think you just sort of watch the intraday. You see if those intradays continue to hold. So let me get the hourly chart. I'm going to keep that on my watch. I'm going to actually extend this like this. 289.46. There we go. Yeah, so I would say you got to get a pullback. If you want to get a long entry, I would want to look for pullbacks. If you don't get pullbacks, you're going to have to be aggressive if you want to chase this. You're going to have to maybe you look for a hold of yesterday's highs. Maybe you look for that, like a 298 retest hold. If you get something like this, maybe that's your long entry here. If you get a hold of yesterday's highs. But above this on Nvidia, there's really not much until this 314. So we'll see. This is going to be a tough trade. You're going to have to definitely monitor the NASDAQ. And at times, Nvidia is going to do its own thing without the NASDAQ. So I would watch 298 and I would watch 292. That's where I would look for, right? I'd look 298 or 292. Those would be the areas I'd look to trade at, all right? But overall, right, when we zoom out, the 292 retest that is holding is very nice. That's sort of what I wanted to point out. This 292 level that's holding, this previous high, that's a very nice hold. All right, Amazon. This one looks really clean, right? Look at this on the 30-minute. Look at this little Amazon previous high hold this morning. This is textbook retest action. So here it is, right? Amazon previous highs right here. Look at this hold in the pre-market, right? That is exactly what you're looking for on a break and retest. That is textbook chart setup there. So I would look to see if Nvidia or if AMD can hold, or AMD, if Amazon can hold that 113. You want to get a pullback, right? You want to be a buyer near this level. You don't really want to be a buyer too far extended past 113. So I wouldn't mind a little morning pullback into 113. That could be a beautiful little entry point. Previous high here. If you can maintain that 113, there's no reason to look short on Amazon. If Amazon is to break back below 113, then you could look for that short once again, right? But if you are above 113 on Amazon, I would be very careful shorting it. It is holding above a previous high. That is a nice break and retest as we speak. If we go out to the daily chart and we sort of look at what's happened in the past, over this 113, that's pretty key. You have a little high here, little wick high. The wick high is 114. So we could put a line at 114, right? That's this little wick high. So I would pay attention to that. That's the wick high of post earnings on February 2nd. So 114, watch that. Above 114 though, right? You're really not working with much besides some chop here up to around 120, 121, right? So let's make that our sort of known supply level up there around 121, 120. If you're over this high here, 114, right, you can see that it sort of got tired yesterday at this level. Look at this right here. 114, 114, 114, 114, right? So 114 definitely showed some importance yesterday. I would say look for either something like this today or something like this. All right, those would be my two long entries. 114 hold or 113 retest. Those would be what I'd look for. If you get under 113, then I say you can look to the downside. All right, so 114, 113, key levels on Amazon. Googie. Awesome breakout, right? You can see just a monster breakout. Took my loss on that little 2-contract swing trade yesterday. I definitely held that 116.50 low. Very nice low. Did not fill this channel, did not fill this gap here. Sort of just continued. Gap and go, right? The gap and the go. 120, 119. I would really want a retest of this 119, 118.50 area. That's really what I want to see. I want to see this, and then I want to see a long entry here and a nice little rally off the retest. That's really where I feel comfortable in the longs, right? This high, these highs, I would love to see us back at that level. Would love to see us back at that level. Do we get that pullback? That's the question, right? If you hold 120, I don't think you get that pullback. If you maintain this 120 level, like you are here in the pre-market, you may not get that retest. But if you do break below that 120, then I think that's where you head. And if you do get that, I would make sure to think about this as a potential long entry on a retest rather than trying to short into demand, right? So watch this 120. That's the first one to watch, right? Right here, 120. If you break below that, maybe some slippage into 119s, 118.50s. This would be the ideal long entry in my eyes, down in here, on a retest of those previous highs. If we go to the daily on Google, let's get a little bit more time here. Awesome little curl on Google. Well-deserved, right? This is a stock I've been adding into. You guys have heard me talk about this on the stream quite a bit. I've been adding a lot of Google shares. I think it's too beat up, to be quite honest, for what it is. 123 looks to be the supply high to be paying attention to here. 123. So just be careful of that. All right. All right. AMD. Beast, man. And I mean, let's all just take a pour a glass out, pour something out for this beautiful bull flag that I talked about every day and totally missed. I'll never forget. Rest in peace. Put like the GTA edit over my stream right now, where like you die and it says wasted. That's me right now on this AMD bull flag. So really nice stuff on that AMD move. Congrats if anyone caught that one. Once again, awesome rally here. It's getting interesting, right? It's getting interesting over here. You're definitely messing with some big levels, right? You got these lows, you got this high, you got this high. So you're definitely messing with some levels up here. That's for sure. Where does it actually find some rejections? I don't know yet, because it's still rallying through these levels. But you can see, right? Previous low, previous low, previous high, and you're sort of sitting right at it. Yesterday, you got a little bit of a rejection there at that level. You guys can see you got a little bit of a rejection at that level. It's sort of like Nvidia, where you just continue to outperform and you just sort of have to watch it in the short term, right? You have a very nice hold of this 101.50 level right now. And here's why I think this 101.50 is important, right? This 101.50 is important because if I go to the 4-hour chart and I zoom in here, right? The high of this day, which was on the 23rd of March, the high of these candles right here is 101.50, right? That's 101.50 right here. So as of this morning, AMD has broken this high from March, and it has held this high from March. So if AMD remains over this high from March, 101.50, then there is absolutely no reason to short this stock, right? You cannot short this if it is maintaining this 101.50 level like it is in the pre-market, right? It's not just some random level that it's maintaining and flatlining at this morning, right? This is not by random. This is a very important level. This is this previous March high that you are holding in the pre-market. So logically, right, we are not going to short into that retest hold. If you can get below it, then maybe, right? Maybe you look for a little bit of a gap fill or just a fill of this big upside. But if it remains over 101.50, right, you got to hold on to it. You got to continue to look for that hold. That's an important hold right there. So 101.50, watch that today. TSM, she's working. She's starting to work. All right, she's starting to work. We talked about this one. Here's potentially how I make up for my AMD miss is this right here. Same sector, same setup. Previous highs into a very strong demand, right? Break and retest. Previous highs into demand. Very interesting, right? Definitely something I'm going to maintain or continue to watch. And here's what's key that happened over the last few days. It is this little hold here around 86. 86 right there, right? So you can see you have these previous lows, you have this high, you have this high, you have this high, and yesterday you held it. This was actually an intraday trade that I was going to take. You can see right here. Look at this 86 intraday yesterday. Look how perfect this was. Hold, 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 right? Hold, hold, hold. 86. Gorgeous. Now, look at this gap up on TSM. So, yeah, absolutely a watch today. Definitely looking to see if I can get long this TSM trade. This is something I'm definitely watching. Yeah, I like it a lot. So let's see what happens. Either way, I'm okay losing on this type of trade. Like I said yesterday, this is a really nice looking little break and hold of this weekly high. This could definitely amount to more upside, right? Significantly more upside. Maybe up towards this 110 level. This could absolutely be the case if you do get some continuation market strength, right? Measured move. This is a 37% move. This is a 36% move. What's 37% from here? 37% from here takes you to around this 113 level. Would be pretty much the same thing that AMD does. This is a trade I will not miss out on. I do not care if I lose on this. I do not care one bit. I will take every loss that I possibly can. Then, right, see this same setup here and be too scared to risk some money on it. So let's see what happens. I will live and die by the TSM flag. His famous last words. Netflix. 330. Interesting here, right? This is a nice little pullback that I am definitely sort of watching. It's a slow pullback. It's right back into these previous lows, right? Into these previous highs, into these previous lows, right? And so I'm going to see what happens if, I'm going to see what happens. That setup has me at semi. Or I thought you meant semi something else. 330, right? 330. See what happens at that 330 on Netflix today. All right? 330. All right, guys. I think we did a good job today. I think that's all I'm going to have for you. ES continues to hold that demand. The NASDAQ continues to hold that low right there. Look at that hold again. That's going to be key. Can we take 5 seconds? This is 10. Can we take 5 seconds and press the like button? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Press the like button. I appreciate you guys being here. Press that like button before you head out. If you enjoyed the live stream, if you like preparing your morning here, if some of the setups we talk about help you, if the futures levels help you, a simple like goes a long way. Help support the channel. Help support us continuing to grow. You guys growing with me. I very much appreciate it. Thank you guys for all the support. Again, thank you for being here. That's the most important. You guys showing up, waking up early morning, preparing yourself. You should feel good about it. I hope you do. I hope you're learning something better than sitting on your ass on the couch watching God knows what. So bettering yourself, which is very important on a daily basis. Hopefully learning something, keeping that brain going. And thank you again. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Good luck today. Be safe, be smart. Don't do anything stupid. Protect your capital. Do all the good stuff. All right? Yeah. Thank you guys again. Chest to the sun. Horn. Shout out to the cult. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.